Big week, Joe. Big week. Gladiator 2 trailer dropped.
Yeah, Gladiator 2 trailer dropped.
I'm getting very excited about this movie, which is on my fantasy draft list.
Wow.
Over here off camera. I know you also have a movie on this list, Janet Planet, which we're going to conclude our review of this week, because you saw it.
I saw it. I'm ready to score it.
Great. I've got Gladiator 2 on my list, and now I think I made a really good decision.
Yeah.
What do you think of this trailer?
Okay. I love, number one, Denzel's in it being
what
the
did
Emperor.
I say?
Like,
what did I say?
obviously this is going
not
to be
Emperor,
good.
not Emperor.
Whatever.
Denzel is the like sly. He's like the I don't know.
Littlefinger?
Yes. He's playing the angles. He like owns the. He like runs the gladiator ring. So he like manages those guys. He's making money off them.
Okay.
He's cutting corners. He do not trust him.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna be a fun character.
Yes.
Maybe a best supporting actor nom. We'll see.
Him looking like that.
Come on. Definitely a Golden Globe. Definitely a Golden Globe nom.
For best comedy, obviously. No doubt about that. Number two thing I loved about the trailer. Okay, I saw a shot of them doing the ships fighting in the Colosseum.
This is the headline.
The coolest thing about the Colosseum I ever heard.
This is the headline.
When I went to Rome many moons ago with my family, I remembered the tour guide saying, I was like, don't even, did I hear you correctly, sir? He said that they used to fill the Colosseum full of water and have naval battles. I was like, that's freaking crazy.
And I think they would even, almost like a Civil War reenactment, I think they would sometimes even, they would recreate actual naval battles.
That's okay.
For an audience, but also like people would die because it was the Colosseum.
and then they would fill it and they would like let it out. Like, you know, when like the Flyers are in the afternoon and then they're going to cover up the ice with the hardwood, and it's the Sixers game that evening at the stadium.
Yes.
At the Coliseum, they like drain the water and then have like guys get eaten by tigers.
Yeah, one guy.
That's so cool.
One guy would go to the top of the Coliseum with like a megaphone and be like, "Everybody get like a mile away," and then they would just release all the water.
So I saw like a shot of that in this trailer, and I was like, "Yes, check, good."
Joe,
Give me.
I thought Denzel was gonna be the headline. He is. He's
1B,
but 1A is they're doing the boats.
It's the coolest
they're doing
thing
boats
ever.
in the Coliseum. That is huge.
What did you think of your guy who you're not suspect of Paul Mescal's talent, but you're suspect of his stardom? How do you think he's looking here?
As
Celebrity-esque?
I said on Basement Takes last week, our Patreon bonus show, which you need to subscribe for, it has got all our juicy takes, the juiciest takes, the hottest takes. I was saying I think Paul Mescal, the fandom is surpassing the body of work right now, and the fandom needs to calm down. Both, and I could say the same thing about Pedro Pascal as well, who's in this as well. It looks to me like Paul and Pedro don't get to have as much fun in the movie as Denzel and the brothers, Joseph Quinn from Quiet Place and Stranger Things, and then Fred Heckinger from White Lotus. They look like they're having tons of fun as like the wild ass. It's like if Joaquin Phoenix from Gladiator had two just like wild ass nephews that he always had to like bail out of jail. Like every time they go on spring break, you know, their parents are like, some poor kid's gonna die.
Yeah, and they're good at acting. Those guys.
Yes, they are good.
They're not just pretty faces. No, they're good. Joseph Quinn's good.
So look, I think this is going to be Paul and Pedro are going to be great. It just doesn't look like they get the like juiciest stuff. It doesn't look like they get the most material. And I will say, watching them and then thinking about the first one, I was like, this is why you need like movie stars. This is why you need your Russell Crowes, your Harrison Fords, because the thing they do that is so fucking hard, and look, Paul and Pedro might pull it off, but the thing that they do that is so fucking hard is they make the heroes interesting. They make like the protagonist interesting. Because in a movie like this, there's a big danger that the hero is going to be the most boring part of the movie, and it looks like that is what we're in store for.
What if?
But that's why Crow is so fucking good. It's because he makes the do-gooder interesting and complex.
Maybe look, if I trust in Ridley, maybe he saw something in Paul, and then we're just gonna see it on screen in Gladiator 2 and go, kid's a star. What are we gonna do about it? That's what I hope.
And I'm glad Ridley's having fun. When No Church in the Wild, a song from like another movie trailer,
it was like 8 years ago. Kanye's a Nazi at this point.
I love that it's in that no man's land where it's like not old enough for us to be nostalgic for it. Kanye is going through what he's going through and saying what he's saying, and Ridley's like, you know what I really love is that No Church in the Wild song. I just heard it for the first time. Can I put that in the trailer?
That's on Watch the Throne. Because like in the Wolf of Wall Street trailer had black skinhead from years before
Wall Street
3 years before
there was a movie called Safe House with Denzel Washington and who else was in that? Chris Pine or Ryan Reynolds or somebody. That was in the trailer for Safe House.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
When did Safe House come
it's back. No Church in the Wild.
Safe House was 2012.
Am I right? I hope that's on is that on that album? I don't.
It is on Watch the Throne.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think the trailer looked great. I love Ridley Scott. I love late career Ridley Scott. Prometheus is the second best alien movie.
Napoleon's the most underrated movie.
And
in the
we
last
love
5
Napoleon.
years.
Like, I don't know what we're gonna do, but except go see Gladiator 2. Well, good luck, Brett. You're gonna need the points because
I'm gonna need the points.
I saw Janet Planet this week and it was good. I think
Spoiler,
Janet Planet's
great.
Adding some points to the board for me.
I'm glad
this week.
you agree with me because if not, it would have been like it might have like fundamentally altered our relationship because I would just been like.
No, that'd have been weird.
Yeah, it would have been weird.
To not like Janet Planet would be weird.
So good.
There's like
stay till later on in the episode for Joe. Why Joe loved Janet Planet
and how
so
much? Because the points
Points matter. I gave it 5 out of 5. It has my
5.
highest ranking of the year so far.
He was honest
for the fantasy draft, and I was honest. It's that good. It's a fucking masterpiece.
It's very good.
This week on Movies Baby, we're talking MAXXXINE and Despicable Me 4. Evil Does Not Exist, and like we said, Joe's review of Janet Planet, plus box office updates. What's going on with Horizon 2? Uh-oh. Joe, are you ready?
You know it, Brett.
Then Margo, won't you roll that theme song? Oh, there it is. I can't get enough movies, baby. I can't get enough movies, baby, but how about you? Do you have it bad too? Oh. Whenever one ends, it's like the death of a friend. I get to wishing that there were 2 more reels. And then a voice cries out, move, baby, you're in my seat and you don't want to mess with who? The Philly movie freak.
I can't get enough movies, baby. I can't get enough movies, baby. Yes, it's true. Oh, I've got it bad.
He's got it bad.
Every night of the year, like the moon, I appear at all the movie theaters all over
Every
town. Cut to black, roll credits. Whoa, baby, I'm lost in a fog. I need someone to talk to. Look, the Georgia movie dog. Dog, dog, dog.
I can't get enough movies, baby.
I can't get enough movies, baby.
I can't get enough movies, baby.
Welcome to Movies, Baby, the weekly show where we break down the hottest movie news, review the latest releases, shout out forgotten classics, and prophesy the future of Hollywood. I'm Joe Cilio, a.k.a. the Philly Movie Freak, and I'm joined, as always, by the amazing Margot Padilla over on the boards, but also my co-host Brett Boehm, a.k.a. the Georgia Movie Dog.
Oh, go Dogs. Joe, I want to kick it off if I can.
Please.
I know you know this.
I'm bursting, but I'll let you go. What?
I want to make sure the people know that if you're a movie lover like we are, the Movies Baby Patreon, that's Movies Baby with 5 Ys, the Movies Baby Patreon is the place to be. That's patreon.com/moviesbaby with 5 Ys. And if you need an excuse to check it out, we got a new poll that just went up, and these polls are public. You don't have to be signed up. You don't have to be anything. You can just go over there and vote in the poll. But while you're there, here's an idea. You can either sign up for a 7-day free trial, right? Check it out, see if you like it.
Sorry, you said expensive trial?
No. Free. 7-day free trial. Doesn't cost you a thing. And then you decide if you like it or not, and then you can stick around for longer. And I think you will like it because there's a lot of good stuff over there. You can also just sign up for free, and then you get updates as we post stuff. And then maybe, who knows, a week or 2 later, you're getting that FOMO, and you're like, I gotta sign up. I gotta unlock this post, see what this basement take is all about, see what this asshole thinks about Paul Mescal. Sign up out of spite. I don't care. You know, you don't have to love us. Maybe this is sort of a hate watch for you. I'm totally down for that. People on TikTok who have such an issue with my movie takes, there's a lot that you're going to love to hate on the Movies Baby Patreon. But go over, sign up, vote in the poll, and then sign up for free or for a 7-day trial. It's so easy. You're going to love it. And this new poll is a tribute to R.I.P., one of the greats of all time, Shelley Duvall, who sadly passed away today. This poll is about your favorite Shelley Duvall performance. Maybe it's The Shining. Maybe it's one of the Altmans. And this is just movies, though. So the Storytime Hour, which was I loved, is not unfortunately not part of this. It's just movies. So go and vote for your favorite Shelley Duvall performance. We'll announce the results next week. Joe, I know you've said Shelley Duvall is your favorite actor.
Yeah, Shelley Duvall was one of my favorite actors. Always has been. Just the second you see her, she stands out because of her distinctive look, and then you fall in love with her because of her amazing screen quality and presence. I loved learning about the person and how she aged and how she reflected on Hollywood. I loved reading about her stories, and her weird post-Hollywood journey was so sad, but then sort of ended so happy. Big rest in peace to one of my favorite actors. Her performance in 3 Women is one of my favorite performances ever. It's just so tender and so human and sad. I think she's brilliant. So rest in peace to a real one. I was really
so your
sad
vote would be 3 Women.
Oh, my vote would be 3 Women, and it's not easy because Shelley Duvall didn't have like a gigantic filmography, but she made every performance count.
Yep.
So it's not as easy as it sounds. But personally, I just absolutely love her in 3 Women, and I love her in a lot of things.
Because The Shining is my favorite performance, but I know that she had such a shitty time on that shoot.
You know, they say
that
that
hurts my. It just like, I don't know.
She's pushed back on that assertion later in life.
Okay.
Not that it wasn't a difficult shoot, but she wasn't psychologically tortured. I think some things with The Shining got a little, Dark Knighty or The Exorcist-y, where we try to give the shoot so much history and baggage and stuff. And it's not that Shelley Duvall wasn't put through the ringer on The Shining. It's that Shelley Duvall was up for the challenge on The Shining and responded to it and gave one of the great horror performances. She just, like, later in life, she just kind of gently pushed back on some of the Shelley Duvall went crazy on The Shining. It's like, no, Shelley Duvall's a great actor that went there on The Shining.
Okay. Good. I think I'd give my vote to The Shining then too, because she does so much in that performance, like start to finish. Oh my God.
It was a miserably difficult shoot, and she's just an actor that has the chops to be up to the challenge. Like,
Great. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. Well, rest in peace, Shelley Duvall, one of the all-time greats. And last week's poll just concluded, which is, what is your favorite? And I had to give some definitions here. What is your favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie? And I literally put it in all caps, Arnold Schwarzenegger movie ASM. And my definition of this was Arnold needs to be like star or co-star. So like Long Goodbye is not an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. It's a great movie that he's in for a second. And I also said I did not put Pumping Iron on there either, because that that's a movie about Arnold Schwarzenegger and is probably my favorite movie that he is physically in. Well, I guess Long Goodbye, but my favorite movie that he is like prominently in, it would definitely be in the top 2 or 3. Okay. But it precedes the concept of an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. He's not a movie star yet. Similarly, Stay Hungry, that wacko Bob Rafelson movie.
I've never seen that movie.
It's fun. You should watch it. It's wild. It's just like Jeff Bridges is like really miscast, but is like is working hard. Sally Field's really interesting and weird in it.
Cool.
The woman, oh my God, I'm forgetting her name. She then later owned a nightclub that was like really popular in the 80s in LA. The woman who's in the back of the car in 5 Easy Pieces and is like the more like hard opinionated one. What's her name? Oh my God. Anyway, she's in it. And so I said the first Arnold Schwarzenegger movie is Conan the Barbarian in 1982. There's nothing before that is an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie in all caps. And then the last one to me it actually works out perfectly, is Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines in 2003, because that's the last movie he made before he became governor of California. And then after that, it's just fucking vanity roles and phone
He like popped up in Terminator Salvation for a second.
He popped up in some of the Terminators. He's in Expendables for a second.
Oh, he's in Expendables, that's right.
But for a second. So they can do the like Stallone and Schwarzenegger like made peace or made good. They broke bread.
I'm here.
So cool. I did Conan the Barbarian through Terminator 3, and the winner was Terminator 2, Judgment Day, baby. You can't fault it.
Can't really be mad at everyone for picking that
movie for what it's doing. It's like it's flawless. My vote would be Predator, and I'm going to talk tonight in Basement Takes. I've been reading my way through the incredible The Last Action Heroes by Nick
You've been loving this.
Man, I can't pronounce his last name. I'm sorry. But The Last Action Heroes.
Why is it Italian?
I don't know what it is. Decemelian. But The Last Action Heroes, sorry, Nick, is an incredible book. And you're an awesome writer. His last book was the one like The Funny Guys or something. It was all about like 80s comedy people like Steve Martin and Bill Murray and everybody. But The Last Action Heroes is really, really fucking good. It's about Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Dolph Lundgren, Chuck Norris, Jackie Chan, all of the big action stars of the 80s and all the crazy shit they got up to making their movies. But there's the part about John McTiernan directing Predator, I'm going to talk about in Basement Takes, because holy shit, McTiernan was like playing the three-dimensional chess, baby, in the world of action movies. Like what he did on Predator to get the movie is some really interesting stuff. You're gonna love it, and you're gonna love it.
I love that, Brett, and I'll see you on Basement Takes. Remind me to talk about Schwarzenegger, because I want to radically push back on the Terminator 2 victory, but I'll be doing so in a disgusting capacity on Basement Takes.
Not even your favorite Terminator.
That's it. Wait, just save it for Basement Takes.
Okay. Joe, let's talk about, because it was a fascinating week at the box office. Margot, show me the money. Let's see what happened at the box office. Okay. All right. This just looks like, right? I'm starting to like, I'm getting fucking Beautiful Mind with this shit, Joe. And
in
part of it is I'm going crazy.
Okay.
Part of it is I'm seeing the patterns now. Like this looks like just
this
numbers
is gobbledygook
on a piece
to the
of paper.
layman, but
I'm
to you,
I'm
this
starting
is
to see the patterns. I've been reading the tea leaves now every week. So I got a couple things that I want to point out about the box office this week. First, with the most obvious thing, which is Despicable Me 4 crushed. It did not crush as hard as I thought it was going. Well, it did not crush as hard as Inside Out 2, but it still had the second, behind Inside Out 2, the second biggest opening run of the year. That 75 number is a little misleading. Look at the 122 number. That's the real, because it was a July 4th opening, and so it opened. It opened like a day or two before a movie would.
So
normally
over the
open.
long weekend, Despicable Me 4 grossed 122 million domestic.
Fucking massive, huge opening. Second biggest opening of the year behind Inside Out 2, which was at 150 for its opening weekend. Huge. And this, so Minions 3, as a result of this, I mean, there was no surprise, but Minions 3 just got greenlit for 2027, of course. Yeah. The franchise as a total is closing in on $5 billion total box office, which is the 15th highest grossing franchise of all time and the #1 grossing animated franchise of all time.
Good for you, Despicable Me.
Inside Out 2 is still raking it in. I mean, God, like Horizon's like, I wish I could do that opening weekend. Inside Out 2 was at 30 million this past weekend. It is now, Joe, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
At 1.25 billion worldwide. Congratulations, Pixar. Inside Out 2 is the highest grossing Pixar movie of all time. All time. Inside Out.
Brett, I thought
2.
movies were dead.
I thought they were dead too, but apparently not. Okay. Apparently you can't kill the movies.
All right.
I mean, I wish they could have killed Inside Out too, but it's resilient.
I think we have to soft tack to being happy about it.
I am happy for the trend of movies
like, movie
in
theaters will
making
continue to exist.
money.
That's
yes.
good. Yes.
I am not happy of what that means for animated children's movies, but I am very happy about what Despicable Me 4 and the success of Despicable Me 4 means for kids movies, because this is my kind of kids movie, baby. Asterisks on that, I did not see it, and Joe did not see it either. However, Sandy saw it with his grandparents.
Oh, cool.
He said he had a blast. He had a great time. They said he did not budge from that seat once. This kid is not even 3 years old. That movie's got to be compelling for kids for him to stay in his seat the whole time, and it was.
Does he like the Minions?
Well, here's the thing. So why I'm going to talk for just a second about Despicable Me, even though I did not see 4 yet, is that Sandy and I watched a bunch of the old ones and the first Minions movie this week. So I went back. I had never seen a Despicable Me movie. I went back and watched a bunch of them. Joe, I freaking love these Despicable Me movies. They are my kind of kids movies. I had so much fun watching these. And the reason that I like these movies is they know the secret ingredients to kids movies, which is not like helicopter parent therapy speak like an Inside Out 2, but is the opposite of that, baby. Fucking mischief. Mischief is the key to children's entertainment, baby. And the reason it's the key is not because it's going to make a bunch of bad kids that are going to make their parents' lives hell, is because kids are smart enough that they take what happens in movies and books and they translate it into a personality and into other things you might not expect. And the reason why mischief is so important in kids' entertainment is because it unlocks kids' imaginations. It makes them less rule obsessed. It fosters I think a healthy degree of a kind of anti-authoritarian independence. And mostly it just gets them thinking fun thoughts. It's just like fun energy for their brain is what mischief is in movies. Whereas Inside Out 2, there's one scene where the Riley has to like breaks into the coach's office to like see what her notes are, to see how good she's doing according to the coach's rubric. Okay. Inside Out 2 presents mischief as like a product of anxiety, as a product of you're like, you gotta calm down, you gotta utilize more joy. It's like, give me a break with that, okay? Despicable Me understands that mischief is fun and it is at the root of storytelling. It's all, I mean, think from the Odyssey. I mean, think of all this shit Odysseus got up to with his mischief out there in those Greek Isles, to Robin Hood, to Ocean's 11. Mischief is story, it is character. I mean, when I was a kid, my jam was Calvin and Hobbes, which is all about mischief.
Absolutely.
And I had every anthology. I read it cover to cover. I loved it. And sure, did I lightly attempt some of Calvin's pranks in real life? Sure, a little bit.
Yeah.
But the main impact that Calvin and Hobbes had on me was that it made me interested in stories. It made me want to read. It made me want to invest in like characters and character arcs and wanted to follow character arcs. And here's this character come back again. Like mischief is the magnet that attracts kids to fiction, and then fiction is the key that unlocks the whole world for them. Mischief is necessary for kids' storytelling, and Despicable Me 4 gets it. Inside Out 2 doesn't.
I love that. It's like Looney Tunes, baby.
It's like freaking Looney Tunes.
It's just, just because I love Wile E. Coyote doesn't mean when I was a kid, I'm going to tape myself to an Acme rocket.
No.
It just means I'm going to laugh and then move on with my life.
Makes you think fun thoughts.
It just makes me love comedy and television and my parents because they loved it too.
Despicable Me rules. I have not seen 4, but
who cares?
Like it's just another Despicable Me movie. That's the other thing. Is like
they
figured out the figured out the freaking formula, and they're just gonna do it until it runs out, and it never will run out. Make 100 of these.
What's Sandy respond to when he's watching his Despicable Me's? Does he like the Minions?
He loves the Minions. He's got a Minion. He knows that it's Bob. He says Bob, Bob, Bob. He loves his freaking Minions. Now here's what I want to say about the Minions, though. And this is an important point and an idea. A story idea for Minions 3, okay? Because we watched the movie Minions, which is all about the prehistory of the Minions, where they came from, the origin story. And it goes back all the way to the beginning of time, because the Minions have been around for all of the history of the Earth, right?
Good.
Now, the thing that defines the Minions throughout history is with each generation, with each passing generation, their goal is to locate and serve the most despicable master that they can find. So in prehistoric times, they all are like serving like a T-Rex, a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Cute.
Then the pharaohs in ancient Egypt, the Count Dracula, Napoleon. And so this is going on, and I'm having fun bouncing along, and Sandy's enjoying it. But then in my head, I was like, oh, fuck. The Minions were Nazis.
Right. Oh, here comes the fucking 20th,
like, the Minions were Nazis.
Shit.
Like, there's no way around it.
Right.
It's
well,
their
maybe
guiding.
Gru got his start in the early 1900s, and they just started repping Gru.
So here's, but then here I had a second thought though, because I was like, oh no, they're fucking Nazis. The Minions are fucking Nazis. The thing though is, the other thing that defines them is they always accidentally kill their master because they're like clumsy and awkward.
Okay.
So they accidentally knock the T-Rex into a volcano. They accidentally flatten the pharaoh with a pyramid because they had the map, they had the blueprint upside down, and they thought it went the other way. And then it's very funny stuff.
But who did they work for in the 20th century?
So in my head, I'm like, oh no, they're Nazis, but like maybe they're going to kill Hitler. And then I'm like, this isn't going to be a kid's movie. What are you talking about? And so what happens is, after they accidentally kill Napoleon with a cannon, which is also very funny, they're like chased by the entire French army, and they hide in this cave, and then they don't come out of the cave for 150 years, which is literally, and so when they come out again, it's 1960. And I was like, you literally did that so you didn't have to answer the Nazi question. The whole reason the Minions go in the cave is so they don't even have to address the Nazi question. And you know what I say to Illumination? Missed opportunity. Minions 3 is on the calendar right now. I want to propose Minions 3 : Valkyrie.
No.
The Minions are Nazis, but they accidentally kill Hitler, and they do it early. They do it right after the Reichstag fire. They do it right after the Reichstag fire, early 30s. Don't wait until 44 like Tom Cruise and Valkyrie. Oh, you finally figured out that Hitler's a bad guy?
They were working on the plan. You can't just march up to Hitler.
You're an Operation Valkyrie apologist.
I'm just saying
it takes a while to make a plan.
They tried. It's easier said than done.
1944?
Well, they're in the middle of a war. You think Hitler didn't have people around him like waiting for some jokers to come and get him?
Illumination. Listen to me. I'm telling you, it'll be. You can make this.
Your Minions 3 Nazis?
No. Minions 3 : Valkyrie Operation, but something like that. Something like and then it's early 1930s, mid 1930s. They're working for Hitler, and then they all one of them trips over another one, and they push him into a fire or something. It'll be. You'll figure it out. You figure out everything. You figure out everything. But feel free to ignore that advice. You know what you're doing.
What if it was like Minions 3 Sandinistas? and like it was all framed as, you know, a lot of the Nicaraguan sort of factions were really bad and the Minions worked for them, and then Reagan comes to get the Minions, and then the Minions sort of I'm just trying to relocate it in history. I just feel like the Nazi thing is could they come out during, you know, maybe like they come out of the cave and it's, you know, I don't know, what's like a thing that who's a bad guy in
and they go to work for Andrew Jackson during Indian removal.
No, but I need 20th century. Yeah, well, they can definitely no, because Napoleon's after Andrew Jackson. Wait,
maybe they work for Mussolini, and that's like a little more like slightly lighter in tone.
I love that. That's like where, you know. But look, he's just like at the end of the day, he wasn't the architect of the Holocaust, so he gets that moniker, which is so funny because he's just like the biggest piece of shit of all time.
The worst.
But anyway, yeah. Look, this is good. This is good stuff. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Is the chat enjoying this? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, they say Josh in the chat says, "While I was watching Valkyrie, I kept saying it needs more Kevin. Kevin is one of the Minions." I agree.
Yeah, see, I don't know. Is Kevin the tall, thin one?
I can't remember.
He's the tall, thin Jonas
brother. I cannot keep them straight.
Okay.
But I love those little guys. I love the guys when they address each other. They go, "Buddies."
Yeah, you know,
it's fun stuff.
I'll just wait till Enzo's into it. I don't really care about this right now. I don't really care about.
But
animation.
I know what you do care. I know what you do care about, which is the news this week. The news this week, and I texted you right away as a wellness check.
No, it was you were spiking the football.
I was a little bit. I was spiking the football, but also being like, "Are you okay? Are you all right, buddy?"
Yeah.
Horizon Chapter 2 will not be coming to theaters in August after all. They have indefinitely pushed the theatrical release of Kevin Costner's the Chapter 2 of Kevin Costner's Western opus Horizon, because Chapter 1 massively underperformed, and now they're trying to figure out what to do. So I believe I'm going to let Joe give his take on this because I know he's going to have a fun little spin on this. And I know Kevin, if you're watching, you're going to want to hear Joe's probably going to give you some form of a pep talk or some sort of ego boost. I'm just going to give you the facts, which is that they are the thinking, because they also, this is not the only news I want to say. They also announced VOD release of Chapter 1. So this is a two-part. People are focusing on the one part. This is a two-part announcement that Horizon Chapter 1 is coming to VOD and Max. I'm not sure if they're coming to both right away, but it's coming to VOD on July 16th. So it's coming to VOD next week. And the hope, I think, is that it finds its audience in video on demand. They build an audience that way, and then they wait until they're confident in releasing Chapter 2 with a better sense of what the audience is. Joe, what do you think about this?
Horizon and American Saga,
God damn it.
Chapter 1.
Here we go.
Was screened in theaters in July of 2024. It was the beginning of what was to be a 4-part, 12-hour-long saga by our chief Western filmmaker alive, Kevin Costner.
I want to be clear too. We do not use teleprompters. Joe is staring dead into camera. This is from the heart and memory, some combination of the two. There is no teleprompter right now. I read off of my laptop, which I'm not shy about. Joe is just straight from memory.
It's just too thrilling of an idea for the world that we live in. And the final straw of too much sauce was having Horizon and American Saga Chapter 2 come out a month later. And you know what? As a diehard Horizon apologist, which I'll get to in a second, I see the move and I say, I guess if I ran New Line or whatever, that makes sense. Fine. It's just too spicy to have the Chapter 1 bomb and then a month later have Chapter 2 be distributed theatrically and expect different results with no time for the movie to find an audience. That's fine. It would have been thrilling, Brett, to see the films released back to back. I thought that was such a badass part of it. But I guess if we're thinking prudently for the long-term success of the project, this is a strategy that may yield results. The hope is that Horizon goes to streaming or VOD, And when things hit VOD, Brett, they find new life. Fall Guy went on VOD this week. We saw it on the box office. It was up. When I Saw the TV Glow went to VOD, it gets more buzz and more energy.
You're right.
Last week we saw it go up. So we will see. Horizon will get up, I bet, a little bit next week. And this is Brett brought it up last week. Who disappointed Kevin Costner the most? It was the Yellowstone boomers who didn't get up out of their chair and go to the movie theater to see Yellowstone, the big long movie by Kevin Costner, up on the big screen. Well, now, good for you guys. You can sit there on your couch before football starts, good timing, in August in the doldrums when it's too hot to go outside, and you can watch Horizon. You can watch it really slow because you're a wimp. You can watch it in 3 little parts, so your dopamine-addled brain can go and stand up and pee and touch your phone and talk and share your opinions, and you don't have to sit still for 3 hours because you're a little baby, so you can pause it and go get more fucking popcorn or put more whatever the fuck on your ice cream, you fucking slobs.
Is this Michael Rooker here?
You can't just sit there and fucking just watch the movie in the movie theater. Well, fine. Now you can pay $17.99 for it on a digital copy on your iTunes, and you can watch it on your big screen TV with motion fuck ups, and it's going to look like absolute horseshit on your big TV. I think that the business-wise, the move makes sense. But I just want to really quickly talk about Horizon Chapter 1 again.
Okay.
Please excuse me. I've heard it all the past couple of weeks. I've heard every single complaint about this movie. And y'all are boiling it down to essentially 2 things that I want to radically push back on to defend this picture. Number 1 thing I hear. This movie looks like television and was developed for television and then turned into a movie. The latter is just factually incorrect. Max was going to buy this and put it out as a limited series. Kevin Costner said, no, this is about the theatrical release. This is about cinema. I want people to see this together at the movie theaters. No, thank you for your money. I'd rather risk it on theatrical release. So the first part where it's made for TV, wrong, made for movie theaters. The second part of that, it looks like television. Brett, everybody else, anybody, what could have possibly inspired that? Oh, Western's long history on television. Western's movies were humongous in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, right? With varying degrees of boom and bust within that window. But that was like the golden age of the Westerns when they made a bajillion of them. But do you know what happened to Westerns after that? They went on to be the longest running, most successful television programs of all time, like Bonanza or The Virginian or, there's like 3 others I'm forgetting right now. But the history of the Western is tied up with the history of television. Oh, this looks like TV. I don't like it. That's funny. It seems like all you fuckers are obsessed with TV. Oh, Jane Schoenbrun's movie looks just like TV. You all fucking come in your pants. Kevin Costner does it. It's violence. It looks like that because that's part of fucking Western history, okay? Fuck you. I know that Kevin Costner can make it look like a movie. I've seen Dances with Wolves and Open Range. I know he can give it a more cinematic quality. He's coming from television and kind of bringing that sensibility into his movie, and I don't see it as some sort of slap in the face. I see it as one of the parts of celebrating the Western genre, with this movie ending the 25 years of the first, quarter of this century's look at Westerns, and incorporating how much television and the aesthetics of television have imposed upon cinema. And it's just interesting to see a movie director go to TV for a while, into the wasteland, into the lesser art form, and bring some of that back with him into the cinema and put it up on the screen. I find it very interesting. I think when Frankenheimer and all of those guys came out of television and went to cinema, there was a lot that they learned from television of that day. Costner obviously picked up a lot from television in his day, and he watched a lot of Western television shows and a lot of Western movies, and he put all of that knowledge into Horizon Chapter 1. So I hate when people say it's like a TV show. We know. Another thing I hate, it's boring. Maybe A, you don't like Westerns. Maybe B, you're a dopamine addicted fucking freak that can't fucking sit with themselves with their 2 feet on the floor for more than 20 minutes without needing to get up, spin around, and bark. You fucking people are programmed like animals. Just sit there and watch the fucking movie. Number 3, it's boring. Or 2, it's boring. Was that Apache raid boring? No. Was at the end when when Lapidus from Lost and all of his cronies attacked that village? No, that wasn't boring. Was it boring when Kevin Costner was wearing those baby fucking blues? No, that was sick.
He was also in Lawnmower Man in addition to Lost.
I love Lapidus.
Yeah.
I don't know, folks. It seems like someone wanted to do a big swing, a big, loving, dumb swing, and we all spit in his fucking face because that's the world that we live in. It's just so stupid to hate on Horizon. Who hates on something like that? Like, Brett compared it, and we compared it last week, to that vibe of, like, some sort of, like, your friend's play that you have to go to. Who goes to their friend's play and then shits on it to their fucking friend's face after their friend just put so much work into it? And I actually liked the fucking play. I think this is so sad. I'm excited that Chapter 2 got bumped because I want you dipshits to be able to go home and you can look at your fucking phone and you can like your stupid fucking tweets and you can all tell me for 2.5 weeks that Biden's going to drop out. He's not going anywhere.
Kevin, if you need a place to stay, if you need a safe house, I know the Russian mob is probably like Barton and knocking on your door these days, asking where the money is. You can stay here at Forever Dog Studios. You can stay in Joe's office. He'll set up a nice little, he'll just do what you did in the movie. He'll set up a nice little Wild West out on the range cot for you.
Sure.
And you can live, you can keep cosplaying as an old Wild West guy, and you can be real safe right here, right in North Hollywood.
Horizon is such a fucking gift. And it's such an oddity, and it's also really good. And it has a lot of low lows in it because it has the sort of pacing and sort of like temperament of television sometimes. Very weird to watch, but it's distinctively a piece of cinema. I don't know, folks. I feel like I'm going to be talking about Horizon for a long time.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Well, at least we get that out of it. Mario, can we look at that box office one more time? There's one more movie I want to talk about on here. One more movie. At number 7 there, another new release, Sound of Hope. Sound of Hope.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Doesn't it sound great?
Sound of Hope.
Great? And you're asking yourself, what the hell is Sound of Hope? I haven't heard of Sound of Hope. Well, I'm sorry to tell you that Sound of Hope, and I wish we could just ignore this shit, but it's got to be said, Sound of Hope is part of a pretty depressing trend in movies over the last 2 years, which reflects trends in the broader culture, which is that there is this growing alternative cinema that is almost exclusively red meat for right-wing evangelicals and far-right Christians in this country. Last year, of course, the biggest, the headline is Sound of Freedom. I feel like Sound of Freedom almost did too well because
that like broke into the mainstream.
The goal of these movies is to sort of operate right under the mainstream, right under the radar. Sound of Freedom was almost too much out of the gate. That's the Jim Caviezel movie about child trafficking.
Like Heaven is Real was like pretty good, but Sound of Freedom like blew the lid off of it.
Exactly.
And entered into the
And that was
mainstream.
that was a top 25 box office movie last year. And then this year we have seen they released that TV show The Chosen in theaters. And for everything I'm mentioning, you're gonna be like, "What is that? I've never heard of that." This is the biggest stuff.
Movies Babies listeners know about The Chosen.
The Chosen is a TV show about the life of Christ that was so popular they dual released it in movie theaters, and it has collectively done $33 million this year. That's better than The Bike Riders. Another one that came out recently, Unsung Hero, about like these contemporary Christian singers, family of singers. That's right now in the top 50 worldwide box office for the year. And now Sound of Hope premieres in the top 10. This is a movie about a pastor and his family who ignite a movement of compassion in their East Texas church for 22 families to adopt 77 of the most difficult to place kids in the foster system. It's about saving foster kids. Now, look, on the surface, these movies are inspirational Hallmark stories about helping kids and following your dreams and standing by your family and all of that. But if you have any doubt about the core right-wing agenda of these movies, it came out last week that Sound of Hope's production company, Angel Studios, partnered with the far-right insane media company Daily Wire to promote this movie. And Letitia Wright from Black Panther, who's an executive producer on this movie, came out and said that she had no idea that was going to happen. And
Too late, Letitia. Too late.
Too late. I don't care.
Oh, fuck. Did I shoot a movie with Woody Allen?
What I do care about.
I forgot.
What I do care about is the danger posed by a movie like Sound of Hope. And let's say it right now out of the gate. This is exactly what the Daily Wire wants me to say. They think I stepped right in their big old stupid bear trap. They want me to say that a movie called Sound of Hope about saving kids is dangerous so that they can say, can you believe these liberals? They fucking hate kids. But unfortunately for the Daily Wire, I'm not stupid. None of us are fucking stupid, and your evil plans are laughably transparent. So let's just lay out what the Daily Wire is doing with this movie and with their whole fucking thing. They start, and not just the Daily Wire, the entire far right. They start with a wide net message that no one can disagree with. Helping foster kids have a better life. Everyone wants that, right? No one can possibly disagree with that. Then they start generalizing that message to this movie's about helping kids. This is for the kids. This is about saving kids. They generalize it away from the actual plot of the movie, away from even the specificity of being foster kids. They generalize it to this is about helping kids, saving kids. And then once you're comfortable with that message, if you still are, they weaponize that message to start their actual political agenda of targeting groups of people, namely trans kids, trans people, in order to advance their political goals and make a shit ton of money. Watch this happen in real time. This is a quote from the Daily Wire CEO, Jeremy Boring, in a statement to Variety. And this is where they're at. Usually, like a year ago, it would be like, we contacted Jeremy Boring and there was no statement. Or the statement was like, fuck you, Hollywood fuckos. They are now at a point where they're comfortable enough with their whole plan that they are like issuing statements to Variety and whoever, and the Hollywood Reporter. So this is a statement from Jeremy Boring about them teaming up to promote this movie. The Daily Wire is truly honored to partner with Angel Studios on such an important project. But such is the intolerance of the modern left that instead of celebrating this accomplishment and all it might mean, one of the film's producers, Letitia Wright of Black Panther fame, Coded, used the occasion to condemn the Daily Wire's involvement in sharing this message across the country. Letitia and I probably don't share the same politics, but I believe we share a Christian faith, and more importantly, the same goal of shining a light on something we can all agree on, a community banding together to help kids in need. Okay, so it's still specific to the actual plot of the movie. We hope people don't allow this distraction to steal from the message from the film. You can't even write this fucking right. And the impact it can have. Everyone should see this movie and join the fight for kids. It's too important not to. So within the span of this single message, this guy goes from saving foster kids to what is the transparent tagline of this hate movement: join the fight for kids. And when they say the fight for kids, that is an explicitly anti-trans, anti-queer message, because the thing that they then turn around and do is say that in order to save kids, we need to
raise them right.
The kids can't be trans, and then trans people are a danger to kids, queer people are a danger to kids, drag queens are a danger to kids, drag brunches, etc. They go off into that whole thing. This is the 1, 2, 3 that they do over and over and fucking over again, and now they are using big theatrical releases of movies, maybe not at your theater or where you can see movies, but in a lot of theaters all over the country, they are now using feature films and cinema to be a cog in this machine, to be a cog in this wheel, to get their hateful messages out. And it is, in a way, it's a strategy that invalidates itself, because the fact that the Daily Wire has to operate like this is a tacit admission that their ideology is extreme. They know they can't start with step 3. They know they can't go to step 3 because it's so fucking insane and so fucking hateful. They can't come out and say it. There's a reason that we don't see Lady Ballers in the top 100 of the box office this year. And if you don't know what Lady Ballers is,
don't look it up.
You're a good person. You should go easy on yourself. It means if you don't know what it is, you're fundamentally a good person. Don't look it up. The Daily Wire literally has to disguise their razor blades in candy. They have to start with saving foster kids and then slowly mindfuck conservatives into believing that trans people want to destroy kids, which, by the way, is the definition of grooming. The Daily Wire are groomers, which means they hate themselves, which is probably the root of all of this. So enjoy all that money, Jeremy Boring. You spent your one brief little life being an absolute piece of shit, and your legacy will be a footnote in the long history of American losers. You weren't the first. You won't be the last. I hope it was worth it. Joe, let's talk about MAXXXINE.
Ugh, even worse than Sound of Fucking Hope. Jesus.
Now, I do want to preface this by saying you have been out in front. You've been on this lonely hilltop for a long time, since X, through Pearl, and now with MAXXXINE. You have been saying that the Ty West Mia Goth team up is one of the worst things that ever happened to horror, that X and Pearl are laughably bad. You said that MAXXXINE was going to stink big time. Joe, we've never had this discussion on Movies Baby, though. Get me up to speed on why you got such a beef with this whole Ty West Mia Goth team up that we now are at our third movie of.
I think it boils down to this. Ty, you were given everything, and you gave us nothing back. The idea of X, followed by two sequels that were thematically linked, that turned into Pearl, that turned into MAXXXINE, they're all horror movies, each focusing on a different cinematic sort of decade, all around one central actor, in this case Mia. And that, in theory, sounds cool. So when I saw X, I think it hurt so bad because I was really excited for X.
On paper, amazing.
It's like, okay, great. Exploitation. Mia Goth, who I was unfamiliar with at the time, was very beautiful, right? So I was like, okay, this beautiful woman is the lead character, and she's supposed to be amazing at acting. Oh, good.
Killer poster.
Yeah, cool poster. Oh, Ty West. Oh, he did that. He did the devil thing with the woman, and the Greta Gerwig was in it for a second, and the ghost. I remember that being pretty good during college. Oh, at A24, they're always on their game, I guess that'll still be pretty good. And then the reviews for X.
I liked House of the Devil, that movie. I liked House of the Devil a lot.
House of the Devil is overrated. It is not that good. It's actually just I can steal other movies too and put them all together and call it my own.
But at that point, it's like his first movie. It's micro budget. I was like, here we go. Here's somebody doing something. I liked House of the Devil.
Then, so I guess what I'm driving at is X really, when I saw it, the bottom fell out for me. I was like, you had this opportunity to do this sort of exploitation themed horror film with A24, and everybody loved it. And I was so confused because there isn't a scare in this thing. There isn't a single scare in this thing. The story is soft. Its themes, old people and sex, are used so first thoughty. There's nothing sexy about X, even though it's a movie ostensibly about hot people having sex or making pornography. There's no tension sort of built up during X, and the whole thing ends with a lot of sound and fury, and the whole thing just slapped me of somebody who did not really have a handle on what they wanted, and it's sort of this mealy mouthed mess. Then Pearl comes out.
And I want a second because I don't want you to be alone on this, because I will say I wish we could have a little Siskel and Ebert dichotomy on this, but we have to be honest. And I wholeheartedly agree with everything you're saying. I was a little late to the game. Your reviews of these movies, honestly, were so bad. I was like, well, I can't see them now because I'm going to have Joe's review in my head. I got to give it some time. When I got around to seeing them, though, I agree with everything you're saying. The most confusing thing is the lack of execution of the horror beats in these movies. It is almost astounding. The kills in X are so poorly executed and just sort of fumbled. It's bizarre.
He's allergic to tension. I don't understand. And if there's no tension, then your punchline or your scare is going to be completely devoid of impact because there's no anticipation or tension or anything built up. I read in the New York Times, someone quoted, Ty West, he builds dread so well. He doesn't.
It's the opposite of
he
the truth.
doesn't know where to find dread if he was looking for it.
He can't even build suspense well, much less dread.
All he knows how to do is like over-color correct his ugly movies. You know why he edits, writes, and directs his own movies? Because he's too afraid to show anybody his piss-poor work before it's all done and it's too late and the money's been spent and you got to put it out. I don't want to hear about cost controlling, Ty. You edit your own movies because you know the footage you're getting is hodgepodge and you're going to fix it in post and put it all together and you're going to find that dread. You never found the dread in X. In Pearl, you don't even remotely even begin to see anything reminding me of dread.
Look at him. Look what you're doing to this man.
Pearl,
look what you're doing to this man.
I'm just getting started. Pearl, okay, so now he brings Mia in as his like collaborator and they write it together and they stay up late and Mia's sending Ty notes and what if Pearl did this? What if Pearl did that? And the problem with Pearl is that it has like all these movies have this cool financial situation where they're low budget movies and it sort of made his way. But that's why I find the whole trilogy so fucking agonizing is you've taken something cool and you made it lame. But anyway, in Pearl, he goes First, he wanted it to be black and white, but then A24 was like, "Oh, we got too many black and white stuff this year," and he goes, "Oh, okay, I'll just do it in a super duper Technicolor saturation." What a happy accident! You know, it's like, okay, so are you this like chief visionary, or are you just like flopping around and just like giving what's handed to you and pretending you're an auteur? So
yeah, haven't you read Easy Riders Raging Bulls? When A24 says that, you lay down on the floor of their office and you convulse and you spit at them until they tell you can do whatever you want.
You drive to their offices, you get all the reels, the negatives of the lighthouse, and you color it in and go, fuck you, now you have one less black and white movie on your roster this year. We're putting Pearl in black and white. But he didn't do that because he's a coward. No, but so he shoots Pearl in this awful Technicolor. To call it Technicolor shows you how far cinema literacy has plummeted into the fucking earth. It doesn't look like Technicolor. It looks like the fucking Instagram filter that you turn all the way up on the saturation for dipshits. It's so ugly and garish, and that's not even the chief problem. The two chief issues are, number one, Ty West is a terrible director that cannot get tension created in his horror movies to save his life, and number two, he cast Mia Goth, the world's worst actress. Look, Mia Goth is very beautiful, but in a scary Victorian doll sort of way, like a porcelain sort of object in your grandmother's chest that you guess has value, maybe $125 for that scary fucking weird porcelain clown in the fucking little glass cabinet. That's Mia Goth. She is that doll come to life, and she is the overactor of the century. My God, this woman has never been in a movie that she's not like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn it up to 500 and call it good. That's what Ty does too. He's like, if I'm going voom, voom, vop with my camera and cut, bang, and flash, zip, and boobie. It's like, who's looking at boobies? And like, he puts like naked bodies on the screen, and then here's me inside. Boop, boop, boop. Like a heart rate doesn't. He, in MAXXXINE, like, you watch a guy's balls get crushed. Here's my heart rate. Boop.
Nothing.
Boop,
it meant nothing.
Boop. There's nothing. He's just like, he can't scintillate. He can't terrify. But my God, is he doing? And he's kicking. And is it step ball chain? Kick, kick, kick. Light, 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 light. Color, 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 color. And that's Mia acting. Wah, wah,
I'm gonna be a fucking star.
And her worst performance is in Pearl. Holy moly, is she so fucking awful in it. And they feed off each other's awfulness. At the end of Pearl, they told you there's going to be this big long monologue Mia Goth gives that's really going to blow the house down. Terribly written, completely uninteresting. Halfway through the monologue, your brain like forgets what you're listening to, and then she's so bad in it. And then at the end of Pearl, Ty makes her smile over the credits, and she holds this big scary smile with these big tears in her eyes,
like the movie smile.
And it's just like it's like two theater, and I'm using this derogatorily, even though I am a theater kid and I love theater kids. It's like two bad theater kids hyping each other up, playing experimental crazy guys, and Pearl's really rough. So now the new one comes out, MAXXXINE.
I also, can I say too, I wonder, like, because you had been telling me this, like, Mia Goth is a terrible, and I was like, how, isn't she just doing like Scream Queen, Final Girl, like fun, and like, how could, like, and then when I watched X, there's one scene where she sees old Pearl for the second time, but Pearl is now like out in the yard and they have a little moment. And Mia Goth is like confused by this old woman out here in this yard kind of like signaling to her. But the way she does it, I was like, oh, I understand what Joe's talking about now. Because she literally does the like, it's like 30 seconds of her just going, huh? Huh? What? Huh?
It's like
you me?
It's like Ty does it in his directing and she does it in her acting.
I'm not here. What are you talking to me? Huh?
It's over.
And I was like, what? What's happening?
They overdo it and call it style.
It's bizarre.
It's not style. It's beyond melodrama. It's bad acting.
Yeah, it's not even good. It's grounded
in reality.
Bizarre.
It's not grounded in any sort of human feeling, Mia, so you seem crazy and weird. And like Pearl's crazy and weird, Joe.
But it does not land on the other lily pad, which is it's not like good enough at like being hyper stylized that it lands on some other sort of like kitsch or camp, or like it is stuck in no man's land of just like it is neither thing.
Pearl is so unscary. It's so shockingly unscary and so bad. So now it's time for the third one.
Now, Joe, when we left, we saw MAXXXINE. We actually saw 2 movies together this week, which is unprecedented.
We have not seen, like, famously, we've only seen in the past like decade 1 movie together.
We saw Tom Ford's A Single Man together.
Okay, actually true. So in the movie theaters,
I remember
10
seeing The
years
Illusionist
ago,
with you. With
that
Paul
was
Giamatti.
like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, I can remember all the movies we saw together. So we saw The Illusionist. We saw
Single Man.
We saw Mystic Pizza.
No.
The Jim Jarmusch. Oh no, sorry. We saw the Jim Jarmusch.
Not Mystic Pizza.
But not Mystic Pizza. We saw the Jim Jarmusch like triptych movie together. What's that? Like His Kinds of Kindness. It's called like Mystic something or something.
I
Pizza.
don't think so. I don't think I saw that with you.
Okay. And then we definitely saw a Tom Ford movie.
Yes.
And then it was a long hiatus. And then like 6 years later, we saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood together.
That's right. That was great. That was maybe our best. That was the best. That or which we're going to talk about today. Illusionist. And I really liked
we love
Illusionist.
Evil Does Not Exist was amazing. Yeah. So this week we saw MAXXXINE and Evil Does Not Exist.
So we'll talk about Evil Does Not Exist in a second, but to stay with MAXXXINE.
Sorry. So let's talk about MAXXXINE
when we
now.
left this movie, you turned to me and said, because it's a movie that's so bad you don't even know where to start in talking about it. You turned to me and you were like, well, Ty West forgot to make a movie again. And that to me is kind of at the heart of this. Can I say a couple things? And then okay.
By all means.
Because and I said this about the bike riders a couple weeks ago, that there was like no movie in the movie. It is sort of empty style that never finds what the movie is in the movie. Ty one-ups the bike riders. It's a whole nother level.
It makes bike riders look like The Godfather.
But the irony is there is so much of other movies in these movies. Obviously, like X, he's doing Tobe Hooper. Pearl, I don't know what he's doing. Sort of like a horror twist on.
He's doing like Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
And you know what else he thinks he's doing?
Yeah.
Dancer in the Dark. Mia Goth in a quote was like, it's like Dancer in the Dark meets She was really inspired by Bjork's performance, and she was like, this is like that meets Wizard of Oz. And it's like, have you seen Pearl? Have you seen those other movies? No, it's not.
Pearl and Dance in the Dark are both movies I will never watch again, but for very different reasons.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like Dancer in the Dark, you dumbass.
And now MAXXXINE is video nasties, 80s slashers, but unlike Tarantino or Alice Rohrwacher with La Chimera, who turned their love of movies and their quotation of movies into something new, into something original and signature in their own. Ty doesn't know what to do besides quote other movies and have Mia Goth say, I'm going to be a fucking star for the 700th time. There is he literally I'm watching this movie and I'm like, this guy does not know what to do here.
He has no idea.
He doesn't know what to do. There is nothing here. And I mean that at every level. Like you've said, the characters are one-dimensional. The horror is blah and not scary. There's no tension. There's no suspense. The kills are boring. The story is derivative. The dialogue is so repetitive. So it is just Mia Goth saying, I'm going to be a star. I'm going to be the biggest name in the world.
This one
over and over and over again.
Badly scripted.
It is wildly poorly scripted. And there is and then at the beginning of MAXXXINE, there is this opening credits montage where he is just throwing all the shit at the wall. Satanic Panic, Moms Against Rock Music, Video Nasties, The Night Stalker, all of this 80s sort of culture stuff. And I'm like, and in my head, I'm doing what I would normally do at a movie. So I'm like, okay, this movie's going to be about Satanic Panic and the Video Nasties and this sort of conflict. Not really. Not at all, actually. Because what Ty West and Mia Goth don't understand is that to be about something, you can't just cite the thing. You have to have a point of view on the thing, preferably an original point of view. And I have never seen a movie that had less of a point of view and less of a direction. This movie has no idea what to do scene to scene. It has no idea how to execute horror beats, even basic horror beats. I mean, he couldn't even make Kevin Bacon as like a sleazy New Orleans PI interesting.
I know.
The entire movie, I'm sitting there like literally just going, what? Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Wait, what? Like I'm doing like it is. The movie has no point of view on itself or on its themes. It is just this empty assemblage of motifs from 80s horror movies,
you know what?
but without the like ticking like clock or heart that made those movies work.
But also without the images and the motifs. Because in MAXXXINE, it's not like, oh, that reminds me of Psycho. He literally points to the Bates Motel and says, this is like the movie Psycho. You know what I mean? It's not like a visual reference where you're like, oh, that's Lady Snowblood. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
It's like, no. Ty West is like, this is the Bates Motel from Psycho. He loved Psycho when fucking he saw it. Do you know who his mentor was when he was out of college? Or who he worked for, who he apprenticed under?
No.
Kelly Reichardt. And
That's insane.
Yes. And he worked under Kelly Reichardt, which is shocking. Kelly Reichardt gives a very, very thin quote to the New York Times this week in the Ty West profile.
Yeah.
Like, I remember Ty. Crickets.
Wait, and later in this episode, when we talk about Evil Does Not Exist, I want to talk about the current, what I think is the current golden age of slow cinema and Kelly Reichardt's showing up and her current body of work, and talk about how slow cinema and Kelly Reichardt are saving cinema.
Yes.
But before we get there, a couple more things to say about MAXXXINE. Can I talk about this? You go ahead. What do you guys say?
Sorry, I was still talking about the Kelly Reichardt thing.
Please.
Sorry, just really quick.
Please.
So he comes from Reichardt, or he like learned under Reichardt. That's cool. And then what was I going to say? I'm so sorry. Let's just move on. You didn't kill it.
Killed it.
You didn't kill it. Let's just move on. Go ahead. My bad.
I want to talk about this, and it's like I can't. In my head, I was like, I'm going to go and make like a super cut of all of the times that Mia Goth says she's going to be a fucking star. But then I was like, but then I would have to actually watch these movies again, so I'm not going to do this. This, like, trope. And I have no problem with tropes. I have no problem with sort of like intentionally expository like movie dialogue, but at least 50 times across this trilogy, Mia Goth says some version of, I'm a fucking star. I'm gonna be the biggest fucking star in Hollywood. Y'all are gonna all fucking suck my titties. I'm gonna be such a fucking star in this city. She says this over and over and over and over and over again. And in completely implausible moments in the movies. She says it like when she's like about to kill Pearl, like about to like shoot Pearl in the first movie. She says it then. I was like, why are you saying this now? Like what, like this is the
she's gonna be a
star. Why are you saying you've already said it 100 times? I know that's what you want. You're gonna be a star. We all know it. And the thing is, there is a lot of things in X and Pearl and MAXXXINE. There is a version of these movies that can work. There is a version of all of this that can work.
On paper, it's
For
cool.
example, I fucking love John Waters. Every single John Waters character talks like this. Every single John Waters character enters a scene and goes, hey, my name is Tammy Beerchin, and I'm the hottest bitch in Baltimore, and I'm going to be in movies, and I'm going to kill the Supreme Court. And it fucking rules because it's funny and it's smart, and John Waters is amazing, and so are his actors. But Ty West and Mia Goth aren't good, and they think they're iconic.
I don't get
And
that.
it is very, very hard to watch these movies, and it's very hard to see Mia Goth say this same fucking thing over and over and over again without any sort of like any sort of direction or like purpose or like beyond just the sort of empty trope of like a wannabe starlet or a ascendant starlet or this and that. It is honestly like I watched all three this week. Shocking. Like I don't know the people who like these movies. I don't know what you're seeing.
It's because you've only seen Star Wars. It's because the people that like this movie, and maybe that's totally fine. Maybe you're 14 years old. It's like you're trying to get into cool stuff. And I think one of Ty's things is he thinks, or they compare him to Tarantino. They think like, oh, Ty West, you watch X and then you're going to get into 70s exploitation films. It's like Ty West, when you watch a Quentin Tarantino film, you can you can pick how much he's stealing and you can decide how mad you are about that, but what you can't deny is that he loves and knows movies, right? Like when Ty West makes his like collages of past films and all these paeans and references to these old movies, it's like, I don't know how many movies you've seen, Ty. Check out your Sight and Sound top 10 list for further fucking details. I don't know how much you love horror movies. I don't know how much you love the movies. You claim that you love the movies, and these movies are about movies, and you compare yourself to Tarantino. I don't know about that, my man, because these movies are so thin. You got to do the coolest thing ever. A24, I'll happily make you 3 movies for a total of $12-15 million, whatever it was, and I'll cast Mia Goth. Because Mia Goth, you know what the thing about Mia Goth is? She might be the worst actress alive, but she's a movie star, kiddo. Like she ain't going nowhere. Like I like Mia Goth. Like it's the funniest thing. I've never enjoyed any of her performances. I think she's fucking terrible at acting, but she has a certain je ne sais quoi. But my God, is it just it sucks. These are going to be like iconic roles. I think this whole fucking thing is a flash.
Did you hear
in the
about
pan.
this?
I think kids. I think this is just for fucking morons and not for people that actually like horror.
Nobody's going to go back and rewatch
these movies. Are really fucking lame. You know what sucks is like, oh, these are gateway drugs to all these amazing movies. It's like
not these. I'm not like
they're not,
because I will say, we have long like put big asterisks on these type of reviews where like. I totally respect and get gateway movies. The movies that when you're in high school and you're getting into movies and you see something that maybe later on you realize was sort of like empty and pretentious, but when you're young, it is like the gateway into all the great cinema. I understand that. I respect that. Those movies need to exist. I don't think this is even that.
This isn't going to bring people into the fold.
I don't think this is even that.
Or maybe it hasn't, Joe. You're so wrong. You know, whatever. Honestly, these movies fucking stink. They don't look good. I think there's one good image in all 3, which is in MAXXXINE.
Crocodile.
No.
Okay, crocodile. I like the near crocodile kill at the beginning. There are 2 shots in X that I liked and that mirror each other.
Yes.
And interestingly I think are the only 2 things that are like not taken from Tobe Hooper, because I can't think of any like analogous shots in Tobe Hooper, which is that aerial shot of the alligator approaching Mia Goth, right? Yeah. Right? That's a good shot. That's amazing. That's a great shot.
Yes.
Thank you. And then, so the alligator approaching Mia Goth, I was like, and that's early enough in the movie where I was like, okay. And then they repeat the shot later as she's like crawling out from under the bed where the two old, the old couple is fucking. Those aerial shots, I was like, this is like, but then like, those are just like the exceptions that prove the rule.
Look, those look good. It looks good in Pearl when right at the opening credits when she like throws some meat to the alligator, or the alligator jumps up in Pearl and it freezes.
Yeah.
And in MAXXXINE, when the MAXXXINE intro music is playing, and I was like, this guy. You know why he has a fucking career? Opening credits. This motherfucker can really nail it. Yeah. Well, like, go direct fucking music videos then, Ty. I love that you like really got it. Like, go make music videos.
He'd be a great music video director. Do the reverse Fincher. Go into music videos.
Go into music videos.
You'd be a great music video director.
When the MAXXXINE opening
you
credits
could give,
are
like,
rolling,
Taylor Swift an edge.
When you see Pearl, when you see X, all 3 of those movies have banging ass like opening credit music.
Do edgy Taylor Swift videos. Just swim in money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, do it.
We found it.
No, like that's
we're not trying to put anybody out of work.
No.
We're just trying to find the right
find the right work. And I think
medium
you need to
for
go.
Everybody.
The only thing deader than movies is music videos, and I think Ty needs to go do those.
No, music videos are hot. You see the Kendrick Lamar music video?
Okay, if you have the number 1 song in the world, your music video will be seen. Anyway, MAXXXINE. I liked when, spoiler alert / you know what I hope? I hope I spoil this for you. I hope that you're like, don't do this. Skip. Here comes this fucking spoiler. Who cares? Ugh. I liked when Kevin Bacon got crushed by that trash compactor and the blood came out of the car. very fun. That's just one shot.
That was a great image.
It was a great image.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem with that.
Fun.
I told you this afterwards. Yeah. Here's the problem. Why are you killing this guy?
Whatever.
He's just a private investigator for hire. Yeah. He has information that you need, and as the thing is coming down, he is screaming to you that he'll give you the information you need, and then you kill him. And it was like, it's just like, God. But you know why? It's because he knew he had his one good shot. He knew he had his one good shot. Like, he wasn't going to let a little thing like story get in the way of it.
I'm shooting on the fucking backlot at Universal.
God, that sequence where Kevin Bacon's chasing her on the backlot
with a
gun.
Is it they're Universal, I guess, or maybe they're Warner Brothers.
It's Universal because they go to the Psycho House.
Oh, right, duh. And then And then Kevin Bacon gets crushed. Anyway, MAXXXINE was I'm going to give it 1 star out of 5 stars, and that makes it the best of the trilogy, with X and Pearl each being half a star. But the only reason I'm giving it 1 is because I like that blood pouring out of that car. But fun. Anyway, I just Paul Schrader. So Martin Scorsese is a Ty West defender, and I think I know why Scorsese reps Ty.
Yeah, that is the big mystery.
Here's what's
the big mystery. Tell me why.
It's because Ty West made 3 original movies that were thematically connected, that all did well at the box office, that he made for all low budgets, that found an audience. And Scorsese, the savior of the cinema, likes all of those elements. Just like he likes that they get low budgets. Like, it reminds him of his Boxcar Bertha Corman days.
Yeah.
He's like, I like those low budgets. I like that you found a cool fans. And you know how like old guys don't know what kids think is cool, and then like someone is coolish enough, so they're like, that person must be cool. Yeah. So he's just like betting on this horse, where he's like, I saw this this colorful little movie for you kiddos, and he just likes that it got produced cheaply and it cranked him out, and he got to make.
That's fine. I'm not going to hold this against Marty.
That's what I think.
I'm not going to hold this against Marty.
I think he's trying to be nice to the younger generations, even though he's probably just like on his fucking phone playing fantasy football while he's watching Pearl.
Here's the thing, though, because we've said this several times on this show. You can be of two minds about a movie. You can support the trends that the movie represents and still be critical of the movies, because the way to because we cannot hit the panic button on movies where we're like, oh, anything that represents a good trend, which is just like micro budget indies doing well, means we have to support the movie. No, that is hitting the panic. That is the death of movies.
That's insane.
That's the death of movies, is when we hit the panic button and we like anything that is like a micro budget indie making money. We have to maintain our fucking critical apparatus and our fucking eye on these things. And because we went to the movie, we bought tickets for it. We'll go to the movies.
I'll go see every time.
But when we sacrifice the critical lens, that's when the fucking movies start dying. And I'm not putting this on Marty, because he stood up and said that the Marvel movies sucked, and I'll always love him for that.
Yeah, so Marty reps.
I'm just saying, as a general rule, we don't hit the panic button. Don't start liking stuff because it's like
That's
because
insane.
Yes.
Thank you. I mean, is that guys, don't like things.
Don't hit the panic
button. Who cares about that? Now, Margot, thumbs up, thumbs down. I see you active over there. I just want to know, do you like X and Pearl and I'm being mean?
I'm dying to hear from people who like this movie.
I thought it was all right.
Okay, you thought you saw MAXXXINE? No, X and Pearl was all right.
Yeah.
Look,
I dig it.
Look, I mean, you can do no wrong in my book, and I respect that. But I'm so sorry. I have to. Well,
we know where you stand.
I have to just say, gently and respectfully disagree. Don't like it. But anyway, Brett. Yeah, I think that. Anyway, then Schrader comes out and he says,
"What did Schrader say?"
Schrader on Facebook.
Schrader, who talked shit about John Dalman.
I love Schrader, and I love that.
What the fuck did Schrader say?
I do think that he's the second greatest poster of all time, after, unfortunately, Trump, who's he invented posting. But Schrader's the second greatest poster, and he said this week, MAXXXINE, he's like, you know what, Ty, you need to stop playing around in the sandbox of B movies, and you need to take your palette and we need to see you do a real film. AKA, yikes, Maxine really stunk.
Yeah,
maybe try a different genre, Bubba.
I see what Schrader's doing.
Yes,
there.
Go check out a different genre. Can you imagine like Ty West's fucking Age of Innocence, or Ty West does like a, like Tenet, what bullshit genre is he going to like pull from with some overacting? Okay, we are going to talk.
Here's an idea.
Brett,
Take your Ty West budget for your next movie and give it to Alice Rohrwacher, or give it to anybody. Maybe he doesn't get to make a movie for a while.
No, well, whatever.
He's not like an immovable object.
These
we
movies
can work
have
around
like
him.
Big fans. I don't know.
I don't know. It didn't make that much money.
Ty West comes from fucking Reichert and is repped by Scorsese, and he should have all the confidence in the world. And his camera suggests to me that he is an incredibly insecure man. Same with Yorgos. We're about to talk about Hamaguchi's Evil Does Not Exist and Annie Butler's Janet Planet. I don't mean this as cut and dry as slow cinema versus not slow cinema. There's a lot of kinetic, exciting cinema that I'm fucking obsessed with. Safdie brothers, name a million of them. But just like as far as the thing goes, like
it's one of the big themes of tonight.
Hamaguchi and Annie Baker in their films this year, they just know what they want, and they're like excited to show you what they're thinking about, and they know that you're fucking stuck in the chair and that you're an adult and you can sit there for 2 hours and just be chill and just like accept the art, let it hit you, and then digest it and stand up and be an adult about it. And the whole thing is riveting and every shot is beautiful and all the moments work and is good. But in Ty West and Yorgos and some other contemporaries think that, okay, if I don't whiz bang flash them enough, they're all going to go home sad. And I think that it just really slaps of an insecurity, and I think Ty West is an incredibly insecure director.
I'd like to coin a phrase. I don't know if I'm the first person to come up with this, but I did have this thought myself, and I didn't look to see if anybody else had said it. So I'm coining this phrase. Movies Baby is coining this phrase. I am sick of the faux tours. The faux tours, baby. I'm talking to Yorgos. I'm talking to Ty West. I am talking to these fake provocateurs, these people who think they're enfant terribles. You're just enfants, baby. You're just children working in an adult, or terrible. You're not both. Mm-hmm. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
You're not enfant
terribles. You're just terrible enfants. You're just kids who are working in an adult medium, and you can't hang with the real fucking artists. And look, I wouldn't be saying this if you didn't bring such fucking ego and bravado to your bullshit movies and to the promotion of these movies. And if you didn't show up on the red carpet like you thought you were fucking Godard at Cannes in the 60s, give me a fucking break. No more faux tours in cinema. We need the real auteurs, baby, and you're going to find them right now mostly in the medium of slow cinema. Let's talk about Evil Does Not Exist. Evil Does Not Exist, the second movie that Joe and I saw together this week.
Crazy.
Directed by Ryusuke Hamaguchi, who made Drive My Car in 2021, which won a bunch of awards, got him an Oscar nomination for Best Director, which is very hard to do as an international filmmaker. He previously worked in documentary a lot. He made a 3-part documentary about survivors of the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami called Voices of the Waves. He also has previously in feature films worked with non-professional actors like Sean Baker, like others, which he does here. And I think all of that comes together. The documentary experience, the working with non-professional actors, all comes together in the amazing, sublime Evil Does Not Exist. This movie, with a cast of non-professional actors, follows a single father who lives in a village that is disrupted by a real estate project, glamping. This real estate company is gonna come in and do like a glamping thing in this village that really depends upon agriculture and nature for its and community for its existence. And then it follows the consequences of this development and its effects on the community. I was blown away by this movie. It is so smart. It is so patient. It is so controlled. And then when it hits fucking hard. It's also a very pleasant surprise. It is very funny. It's very fucking funny. I think we should for this. I want to avoid any kind of spoilers. I want to talk about like two things from the early part of the movie. I really want to avoid spoilers on this one though.
Yeah, no spoilers.
Because we don't have like contempt for the movie.
No. This movie's a beautiful gift that you should.
And also because you should go into it not knowing too much.
I agree.
Know a little, but don't know too much.
Know that it's good and you should go. For
exactly.
Sure. Know about that.
But I do want to talk about a couple things in the early part of the movie, kind of Act 1, early Act 2. First, the opening part of this movie is just like is just pure slow cinema. It is and the whole movie really is long takes, long shots. He really doesn't. I loved this movie because he will not cut unless he absolutely has to. He only cuts when he wants to like dramatically change the point of view or he's going to a different scene. Is the only time he cuts. I literally started like following it in my head. He truly will not cut unless he forcibly has to. Otherwise, it is these incredible
but what if my dumb audience gets bored?
Nope,
that's Ty.
Nope, right.
Sorry,
he has faith in what he's doing, he has conviction in what he's doing. And so the first part of this movie, you are just watching this community, this sort of agricultural-based, nature-based community doing what they do on a daily basis. They are getting water from the stream. They are chopping wood. They are forgetting to pick their kid up from school because they were chopping wood. You were going through all of these, right? Smoke. I've never seen smoking a cigarette be so satisfying in a movie. Not like beyond like gauzy close-ups of Betty Davis. You have never seen such a satisfying smoking a cigarette scene in a movie as an Evil Does Not Exist, because it happens after this guy has you've just watched him chop wood for
in
3
real
minutes
time
and then smoke a cigarette
yeah.
and you feel the fucking,
and he's not an actor,
no,
just a guy.
You feel the moment and the satisfaction. You feel it so clearly, and these beautiful compositions, these beautifully set up shots, and then sort of like 30 minutes into the movie, 20, 30 minutes in the movie, you get the first like big sort of confrontational plot setting scene. And it is this incredible long scene of a town hall meeting where this real estate company is like presenting their plans for doing like a glamping installation in this town. And you can tell like at the beginning, this real estate company and their 2 representatives who then have the most incredible character arcs. Oh my God. Like what would be throwaway characters to anybody else become like the key characters in the whole thing, and their arcs are unbelievable. I won't say anything else about that. But this real estate company, they think they just show this video and they're like, these dumb hicks are going to love this because it's, money into the economy. And then the town hits them with the most incredible questions ever. They have like 3 detailed questions in a row about the septic tank, and this company is wildly unprepared to answer any real questions about what they're doing. And this town over the course of this town hall meeting, like deconstructs this project and shows them how they are going to like, not in some sort of sentimental sense, like physically really in terms of like the ecosystem of the town, how this glamping installation is going to ruin is going to tear down the foundations of this community. And
everything these tourists are coming to see is going to not be there anymore because of their terrible plans.
They nail them to the fucking wall, and it's incredible. You will never want to go on a vacation again because of this movie, and good for it. It is so fucking smart, so fucking patient. And if I can, I would like to, we've already talked about it, but I want to talk about what I think is this golden age of slow cinema that we are going through that is epitomized by Evil Does Not Exist. And I want to be careful here because slow cinema has been around for a long time. It has so many masterpieces to its credit. And when we say slow cinema, we're talking about the cinema of minimalism, this sort of observational realism characterized by long takes, simple narratives, this sort of patient cinema. And the title slow cinema has always been, I think, intentionally misleading because although the pacing of the movie is slower than a popcorn movie, when slow cinema is done right, it is the most fucking compelling movies you've ever watched. Kelly Reichardt's Showing Up last year, Janet Planet, Evil Does Not Exist. I have not been more. I was more on the edge of my seat for those 3 movies than every fucking popcorn movie I've seen for the last 2 years. And I love popcorn movies, but just to point out that slow cinema is this sort of intentionally, I think, misleading term. It is slow in its pacing relative to what you're used to at the movies, but holy shit, when it's done well, it is nothing digs the knife deeper or is more of a gut punch than good slow cinema. And that's what I love about it, is that it rejects the tropes of mainstream cinema, not just to reject them. It's not like slow cinema is not like snotty kids being like fuck. It's not Dennis Hopper. Remember those stories of Dennis Hopper like telling George Cukor to go fuck himself because the kids are taking over? That is not what slow cinema is. Slow cinema is like adults at the top of their game. It's like masters of cinema showing you there are other ways of being compelling. They are trying to get to the same end as a fucking Marvel movie. They are trying to get you on the edge of your seat. They are trying to be compelling. They are trying to tell engaging stories. They just understand that you don't have to like the what's interesting about a movie doesn't have to be so pushed to the front. It doesn't have to be cut, action, chug your fucking popcorn, fucking swallow this whole, you fucking idiot. It can be patient, it can be developed, and it can still be just as engaging, if not more. And to shout out the classics, I mean, of course, Chantal Akerman's Jean Dielman, Antonioni's trilogy, Aki Kaurismäki and Jim Jarmusch I love in this medium because they sort of do slow cinema comedy, which is hard to do, which is like sort of to make slow cinema funny. So there are tons of like masterpieces, and we're talking about slow cinema.
In Japan, all the way back to Ozu.
Thank you. Exactly. Yeah. Yes. And so, but keeping that in mind, I do think slow cinema is going through a golden age right now. Kelly Reichardt, of course, but I think showing up as one of Kelly Reichardt's best, which came out last year. Annie Baker's directorial debut, Janet Planet, which you're going to talk about in a second. And then Evil Does Not Exist. Easily 3 of the most compelling, powerful movies I've seen this decade. This generation of slow cinema auteurs are absolutely crushing because they have such conviction. They have such a clear sense of what they're doing, such control over their movies. I think they are putting the maximalist, I'll say it again, the maximalist faux tours like Yorgos and Ty West to shame. Slow cinema is where it's at right now, baby. Take a break. Smoke a cig. Relax.
Sit the fuck down.
Because the slow cinema is here to save us all. Don't hit that panic button.
Chill out.
The answer to saving cinema is not to just fucking blow your load and think that you just got to throw 100 tropes at the screen and hope something sticks. The adults are here to save us, and they're all working in the medium of slow cinema right now. I fucking love y'all.
Brett, I think the question going into next week's episode, where we're going to pick our top 10 favorite movies of the year so far.
Oh, best of 2024 next week.
The question is not, is Evil Does Not Exist going to make the list? It's
where
how
it's going
high.
to be. How high it's going to be.
It's how high. It really is a great movie. Brett said it all, but just to throw it out there, like nature just shot so powerfully and so beautifully. This guy is a master of color and light, a joy to watch, a great story. And that scene Brett talked about, that scene was so funny. One of the best written, most enjoyable to watch. It's like 20 minutes long. Like, it's such a long scene, and it's so funny and well done in a very minimalist like room. The shots are, every single shot is stunning, but you or me wouldn't be able to figure it out. He's just pointing the camera and stuff, and he has the eye of eyes. Hamaguchi, really gorgeous stuff. I'd see it again in the movie theaters. I don't know if I'm going to be able to because it's kind of hard to go see in the movie theaters. And Brett and I had to schlep to Beverly Hills.
Lumiere Theater.
Yeah, shout out.
Is just doing straight art house right now.
Yep.
No, they're not even doing like bike riders. They're just doing straight art house, and I love you, Lumiere.
Yeah, so we saw it there. But anyway, check it out. Great movie.
Joe,
I won't belabor
speaking of slow cinema, last week I gave Janet Planet a 5 out of 5. My only 5 out of 5 for our fantasy picks so far. You saw Janet Planet this week. What'd you think?
I picked this movie on my board because I love Annie Baker's plays. And Annie Baker, coming from theater, is just like of a class of theater person that is smart and good, and she's like married to a bombach. Like she wasn't gonna fuck this up. Like when you're one of the greatest living playwrights, you've won like every award, you're transitioning to Hollywood and you're a bombach, like you're gonna nail it. And Annie nailed it. Not that this movie would, well, whatever, it doesn't matter about the bombach. I'm just saying, like, she has high she should succeed, and she does. It's amazing how she transitioned from theater to film. Like that transition doesn't always go smoothly, but she has such an incredible eye. So anyway, Janet Planet, Brett spoke about it last week. It's about a young girl in 5th grade, and the movie's sort of set up over the course of 3 relationships her hippie mother sort of has that year of her life, with these other great stage actors, so all pulling from the New York theater, just amazing acting. And Julianne Nicholson plays the mom, Janet
Planet.
Last week, Brett spoke about how good the young girl was, and she is so terrific. I hate that's I don't
warmed your cold dead heart. I
don't
hate
would. Children
I knew
actors, but like oftentimes, like a child actor can be good at acting or bad at acting. It's like people are like, oh, it's a kid, so I'll just like accept whatever I'm getting right now. It's like, no, I've seen kids be really good in movies, and I've seen them fucking ruin the movie.
Like Horizon.
In this movie, hey, fuck off. No.
That kid's bad.
Hey,
kid's bad in Horizon.
in this movie, the young actor is so good. But Brett, I want to focus for a second on Julianne Nicholson.
Great.
The movie is about this woman who is like effervescent and sort of mysterious, but dignified and very beautiful, Julianne Nicholson. And she says to her daughter in bed one night, in a moment of like sincere and extra vulnerability, she says, I have a power that I've always had and I've always known, that I can make any man fall in love with me if I try. And she thinks that ruined her life. And at the end of the movie, the little girl, her daughter, is standing to the side of this dance hall, watching her mother in a country sort of line dance setting flit from like one person to another. And you just see through these like passing images of Julianne Nicholson's face and the other people with whom she's dancing's face. And you just are watching everybody effortlessly and immediately fall in love with this magnetic, beautiful, mysterious woman. And I totally get it. Like Julianne Nicholson throughout this whole entire thing, like that type of woman, I've fallen in love with that woman 1,000,000 times. Like, you know, I'm married to that woman. Luckily, she's cool and like on the level and not weird like Janet. But like, I completely and totally was like, yes, there are these like magic women that like you just are like, they're beautiful and amazing and mysterious. You just like are obsessed. And this one, Annie Baker shoots Julianne Nicholson just so lovingly, in the way the daughter looks at her. I was completely like very powerfully impacted by that at the end, and I loved all the side characters. Like I love Sophia Canato's character.
Yeah,
she gives a great monologue at the end of her beat. You know what I mean? Julianne gives great monologues in this. Like all the acting is superb. The writing is superb. You know, I love like in plays you get themes talked about, and in film we often like see films visualized, and sometimes we have great conversations about themes and stuff. But this movie had like 3 or 4 really like dialogue driven but not over wordy like themes that were connected on or touched on or talked about, where I was like, man, made me miss the theater, just thinking a little more beautifully and a little more like subtly and a little more humanly over there. Always have been. That's like a part of Annie's work in the theater, and it's just really nice to see it on film. Also, it's gorgeous. Also, just like Showing Up, I loved all of her loving shots of like the different artist communes that Janet Planet's a part of have different like artifacts, like statues or costumes or props. And it reminded me of Showing Up when Kelly Reichert like really like lovingly films all of the statues that the artist makes. And you're just kind of like looking at an image of a statue, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, that statue is amazing. And it goes to another and another. And same thing in Janet Planet. So many like amazing shots of all these different people's art, and you get to kind of sit with it patiently. And in Hamaguchi,
Evil
Does Not Exist,
same thing.
You get to just like sit with the nature.
That's what slow cinema
so
gets.
Nice.
Is that understands is like one of the most interesting things to see on film is like people at their work, like people at their craft is such an interesting thing to watch.
It really is
such an interesting.
It always
thing to
is.
watch.
In like when I was in theater school, I saw a million plays, and you're never bored watching someone actually do something.
Yes, it is fascinating.
When someone's actually doing something in front of you, and all you have to do is sit there and watch it, like it is incredibly engrossing. Now, if somebody like me, a goth, is pretending to have trouble doing something, then it's not really going to have effect. But if you're watching someone actually struggle with
watching
something,
him chop the wood in Evil Does Not Exist was so
therapy.
compelling. I was on the edge of my seat.
That sound of like the wood getting chopped, it's like an ASMR, like when my back loosened up.
And then I know we're talking about Janet Play, but then later on he like shows essentially an audience surrogate, like a guy who's like never seen somebody chop wood so good. Or two people, and he has two people. Then like he does the same scene again, but with two people who are us in the movie watching him, and they are just like jaws open, just like watching this. They're so enthralled that at the end of the scene, a guy's like, "Can I try to do that?" Yeah. And then like he sucks at chopping wood, and you're like, "I knew it. I knew this was like an elite skill that I was watching someone do so effortlessly."
It is an elite skill. It was so cool. Anyway, it's wonderful to sit there and have to sit there. When you go to a museum, you think always like, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just like post up in front of Guernica and stare at it for 4.5 hours. It's like, no, you're not. You're going to shuffle along because you fucking need your cup of coffee at the end of the fucking, hallway, or I got to get a check on my phone. I got to get to my next thing.
It is a relief. It is a relief though when you see the cafe in the museum and you're like, oh, thank God.
Oh, I was describing me at the museum. Okay. That was me putting a mirror up to myself.
Good. Yeah, no, it's
I do not sit in front of Guernica for. I
such
sit
a relief when you're like, oh, I'm going to grab a coffee
minutes,
for 20 minutes,
and then I'm like, I gotta find the fucking coffee. It's like if I don't spend money in the next 5 minutes, I'm gonna fucking spontaneously combust. But in these movies, you can't. You're supposed to just fucking sit there and watch the movie, and it's really nice to be kind of trapped in that seat and just sort of be able to experience whether it's nature or the art.
See this in a theater.
It's really great.
Evil Does Not Exist if you can. Janet Plant if you can. See these in theaters. These are the movies that need to be seen in theaters. Mm-hmm. Everyone's always like, you got, Fast 9, you got to see in theaters. Sure, of course you do. Slow cinema, ironically, should be seen in theaters.
Right, because the images are actually like cared for, and the whole entire point of being there,
and the experience of just being contained with the movie, having really no option of like pausing it and going. You. It is truly good for you.
It's like a cleanse.
Yes.
And it's like a cleanse with an amazing story attached that you might cry at the end because Janet Planet's so lovely and so beautiful.
And I want to revise one little thing I said. One thing I said last week, where I was talking about how, to me, the themes of the movie were about how adulthood is sort of this like cycle of repetition and dissatisfaction. I mean, literally, the movie goes through 3 relationships that sort of mirror each other in different ways, and that childhood is this last period of just like true mystery and uncertainty and sort of I think that's true. But then I think like, smartly the movie goes one step beyond that, and then the final, like you were saying, that final scene, to me, the more I was thinking about it, the movie is ultimately about then that is the dichotomy, but then having to make the choice to join adulthood is kind of the ultimate sort of like arc of the movie. That even though you live in this sort of idyllic world of like sort of mystery and sort of like imagination and fun, and you're doing piano lessons and all this, like she admits that she's like miserable.
She says the little girl says the funniest thing. It's the middle of the night, and to her mother she whispers, "Mom, I was thinking, my life is hell."
And then in the silence, like seconds later, Julian Nicholson goes, "It's really hard for me to hear you say that."
Because this girl lives like in a remote area, but has like a totally lovely little life. Yes. You know what I mean? It was just so funny.
Like so, there is like I was giving a slightly sort of like sort of a simplistic take on it. I think like it's about that decision then to sort of join adulthood, but then it's about like as a parent. I'm realizing that I'm even realizing it now in little glimpses with Sandy. One of the hardest things to do, I think, as a parent, is to hear your kid admit to feelings of like despair or sadness, because it is hard. It's hard for you to like let your kid become human because you don't want them to, because humanity is about desire and longing and dissatisfaction and despair and misery. And so like you don't, in a way, you want your kid to stay a kid forever because you want to protect them from these like what are the adult experiences of life, but you also want them to be singular and independent and adult. So it's like, so watching, I think Janet Plan is about this two-way street of Janet sort of watching her daughter get to that point where she's going to become an adult, and then the daughter, you know, getting to that point as well of like choosing to enter. And I mean, more than most kids, the daughter has seen a lot of adulthood, has seen it right up
really
close.
Like,
right
she
up
is
close.
so adult.
Yes,
so young.
yes.
It's so hard. It's so sad. But it's not like Janet's a bad mom.
No.
You
and
know?
I think that's the meaning of that final scene is when she's on the sidelines. Because literally the final line is something...
She's in awe of her mother. Loving awe.
And the final line, even though she knows her mother is just sort of in this cycle of unhappiness. And like,
that's who she is.
But she loves the sort of realism and authenticity and just sort of magic that her mother represents to her. But that final line, I think, of something of like, do you want to join or do you want to join in? When she's watching her mother spin around to different, you know, at this dance, that's that line is like, are you ready to like, how are you gonna
live your life?
Yes.
Are you gonna
join this dance of adulthood?
And we don't know what she picks, much like the top at the end of Inception. And I'll tell you, like, I don't know what I would pick either, because there's so much like joy in the choice of being a Janet, but there's so much like safety of not being a Janet. Like being a Janet is such a hard go. So watching her daughter sort of choose what of her mother to take forward with her and what to leave behind is so hard and beautiful.
Watch this
it's a
movie,
great movie. And then the best thing is it's not just well written and well acted. Like it's just absolutely gorgeous to look at too. It's really well photographed.
So I gave it a 5 out of 5. What are you going to give it, Joe?
I'm going to give Janet Planet a 4.5.
I love it. I think that's what we did on Monkey Man. That's exactly what we did on Monkey Man.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4.5.
All right, so that's 9.5 for Janet Planet. Second highest rated movie on this list besides Monkey Man. That takes you up to, holy shit, 24? Oh my God.
What do you have?
Let me make sure I did the math right. 5, yep. Oh, damn it. Okay, great. So you're at 24. I'm at 20.5. I started out strong with Monkey Man. I'm on a bad
one movie left
right now. 2 movies left.
I'm sorry, we each have 1 movie left?
We each have 2 left.
Okay.
You have...
What do I have coming up, baby?
You have
I gotta get big points. Megalopolis.
And Conclave left.
Yes. Megalopolis and
what
Conclave.
Crazy.
That's insane.
And then I have Gladiator 2 and Terrifier 3.
Okay, this is fun. This is fun. We'll see.
And remember this, we chose these movies...
Megalopolis,
as to what we thought,
I need you.
What we thought that we would both like the most, right? Because this is like, it's our ratings that matter. It's not some like general ratings. So you right now have gauged our tastes better. You're at 24
for now.
I'm at 20.5.
All right. Well, man, Janet Planet, thank you for coming through, Annie Baker. Really, really nice movie. Like, just like kind of talking about it. Don't you want to just kind of like cry a little bit?
I do. I want to see it again.
So nice and sad and good.
Now we've got some stuff to talk about next week and then plugs. Let's look at what we have coming up next week. Next week we have we are going to talk about the long-awaited horror movie Longlegs. We're finally going to get a look at this thing.
Can't wait.
Big expectations created by the movie itself. I mean, the trailer says it's the best serial killer movie since Silence of the Lambs.
Marketing's marketing.
I don't know who they paid to say that, but I hope they're right about it.
Me too.
So we're going to be talking about Longlegs. Are we going to see Fly Me to the Moon? I don't want to see
No,
this
what?
shit.
We're going to see Longlegs, then we're doing our thing.
Okay, good.
I've seen Fly Me to the Moon.
I might see Fly Me to the Moon. I'll give you a couple sentences on Fly Me to the Moon.
I'll go see Fly Me to the Moon.
So we're going to see Longlegs, Fly Me to the Moon, and then we're going to do our best of 2024. This has been the big theme. Best of 2024 so far. The first half of the year, our top 10 movies. Joe and I are each going to make our own lists. We might try to do a sort of hybrid list as well. Yes. It's going to be tough though, because there are going to be a lot of.
We're going to work together. We're going to work together.
Okay.
We're going to honor each other's.
Okay, good. But we each make our own lists as well.
Fine.
Okay, good. So we'll come in with our own list. Top 10 movies of the year so far. Don't make your own list. Share it with us.
Yeah,
share it in the
that'd
chat.
be awesome.
Make your own list of your favorite movies so far of 2024. And then I wanted to do a couple plugs. Margaret, do you have those plugs? Yes. Okay. So a couple plugs. of some people who are very, very meaningful to me, people that I really like. First of all, the great Sharon Like, DJ, artist, musician, all-around cool person here in LA, has launched this incredible merch store on TeePublic. This shit is unbelievable. I'm wearing a shirt right now that Sharon made. I also have this tote here. I'll show you real quick. I've got this shirt.
Oh.
You see that?
Yeah, that's
really
cool.
Freaking cool. And this tote.
Okay.
Fucking awesome.
Hell yeah.
Right? So if we can go back to that graphic, it has the URL there. It is teepublic.com/user/like and share. Go check out Sharon's TeePublic store. Buy that shit. Look at that shirt. Isn't that shirt fucking awesome?
Yeah, it's really cool.
That's really, really cool.
Audio guy who's got blue hands with red fingernails.
Yes.
On like an old flip phone. It's really cool.
Flip phone, very cool.
Looking good.
Very cool. And
what's this, Brett?
All right, this is amazing. So Stephen Winchell, credible artist, actor, creative in the Chicago area. He designed, if you listen to Double Threat and you bought Double Threat merch, you've probably bought a Stephen Winchell design. He did so many incredible, so many of the Double Threat shirts. He reached out to me this week and told me about this incredible play he is staging in Chicago at the end of the month that has maybe the best premise I've ever heard.
Wow.
Like us, Stephen is a big Siskel and Ebert fan.
Okay.
And so he had the idea to stage a Siskel and Ebert episode line by line as a theatrical experience. So I believe he's playing Ebert. He's playing one of the two. It's called Siskel Ebert, like Frost Nixon with the slash, Siskel Ebert. And smartly, they picked one of the best episodes to start with. They're going to be staging the infamous 1987 episode of Siskel and Ebert about Full Metal Jacket. So they're going to be doing the entire Siskel and Ebert episode about Full Metal Jacket in Chicago. So if you live in Chicago, if you live in the driving distance of Chicago, you should go check out Siskel Ebert. It's playing at the Bughouse Theater July 18th, 21st, 25th, and 28th. You can get tickets at bughousetheater.com.
That's fun.
Check it out. And then to plug our shit, of course, the Patreon, patreon.com/moviesbaby, where you're going to get full video and audio episodes of Movies Baby, Weekend at Bergman's, Basement Takes, our after show where we say all the shit we can't say on Movies Baby that we can't say in public. It's so hot and so juicy there on Basement Takes.
Keep them in the basement.
And if you're on Patreon, you can join us for Basement Takes in just about 10 minutes here.
I got fire to spit on the mic.
Oh,
tonight.
my God. Okay. And then we've got, of course, After Death VHS, hosted by Sarah Freilich. I just received video files for a new episode, so that'll be going up in the next week or two. Sarah Freilich, the great Sarah Freilich's journey through the world of VHS collecting, sharing gems from her collection. You do, really, just
that's so cool.
I watched it. I'm like, I can't believe this is on our Patreon.
I know.
This is so good.
I learn so much every time. I want to get Sarah's brain. In the Matrix when they put Kung Fu and Keanu Reeves had. That's what I want for Sarah's VHS brain.
I know. I thought I knew a lot about movies.
No, I don't know shit.
I never know a movie that she recommends to me, and then it's the best movie I've ever seen.
Yep.
And then, of course, on Fridays, we have our Twitch gaming show, Hot Dog and Gamer Boys Play the Movies. Hot Dog and Gamer Boys Play the Movies, where we play a video game based on a movie start to finish. We eat hot dogs. And we can't leave the office until we complete the game. I don't know what's coming up tomorrow. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But you're going to be back here in studio.
Can't wait.
We'll play together. We'll play something fun.
Oh, good.
Start to finish. And so that's going to do it for Movies Baby this week. If you're on the Patreon, stay tuned in about 10 minutes for Basement Takes. You can also watch all of this and listen to all this on replay tomorrow. We love doing this damn show. I hope we get to do it for quite a while.
Yeah.
And we will if you support us on Patreon. Thank you so much. Bye.